Chapter 17. Mysterious Effects of Listening and Hearing in Life. Introduction. In general, it is considered that listening and hearing are the same. However, both are two separate shores of a river. They are two sides of the same coin, but miraculously different. Hearing is easy without any effort, but listening is an evolved process. Most people hear and come to a conclusion as if they have grasped and understood, but their hearing is on the surface. Nothing touches them. Listening is very complex and evolved. Unless one is not deeply interested in the subject matter, he is unable to listen. However, he can pretend as if he is listening, but he will just be deceiving himself. Nothing really enters his understanding. Listening and hearing processes, along with their benefits, are highlighted in this chapter for self-evolution and realization. Importance of listening. Listening is the basis of understanding. If one is not able to listen attentively and patiently, he cannot understand the subject. Listening takes much more energy than speaking. Listening is the first step of learning. On the contrary, hearing does not consume much energy of the mind since he is not evolved deeply with the subject. Listening is an art. Analyzing after listening is wisdom. And implementation in life makes the process complete and whole. Only then one can fetch benefits of listening in different modalities and dimensions. In short, there are multifaceted achievements in life by listening. Hearing has no role in this direction. In spiritual sciences, benefits of listening and contemplating on the name of Almighty are numerous. Listening and hearing. It is emphasized that by listening to God's name and His glory, one's mind and intellect get completely immersed and get associated in the divinity. It makes him thoughtless, and he becomes completely in unison with Him and experiences the subtle divine vibrations. One hears when his mind is present, but listening is feasible in a mindless state. Listening is no mind state. Listening goes in depth of consciousness. Listening transforms and his conscious level is manifested. Hearing remains on the surface of the mind. Mind is mutative, so any subject matter one hears, he forgets it very fast. It remains temporarily in memory. Listening is feasible with awareness, that is, when one knows who is listening within and who is speaking from outside. Listening and hearing. Glory of God. Listening to the glory of God is the most difficult activity. However, it is possible only with His grace. When attention and concentration of an individual is completely immersed with the self, and when there is total silence with no mind, then only subtle divine energies are sprouted in his inner self. Moreover, the listening effect of the glory of Almighty is possible when there is a state of complete silence. In conjunction with this, listening in depth with full attention under the absence of mind influences divine vibrations of the various words used to express the glory of His name. Divine words, subtle vibrations of divine words, and silence, no mind, state exist simultaneously. All these change the complete personality of an individual in some discontinuity in the realm of existence in life if he learns the art to listen to the recitation of divine glory. In contrast, hearing the glory of God in the presence of mind brings no tangible benefits. Since the mind is mutative, one hears the words of God's glory, but he is never present at that moment. Mind pretends as if it is with the narration of God's glory, but the mind wanders here and there, but hardly present at this moment with self in the physical body. So, just hearing cannot transform his personality and does not bring any change in his inner self. Effect of listening and hearing. Listening to the divine name is the gateway to a higher divine path. The effect of listening to the divine glory being with self without any thought forces one to contemplate on divinity. And finally, this makes him follow the sayings of the Almighty, since he listens through consciousness without any thought and in a breathless state with full awareness. And thus, wisdom and intellect develop gradually in discontinuity, in continuity of existence in his inner core of consciousness. Just hearing the name of God with full mental activity, having full engagement in worldly affairs, is just a passage of hearing from one ear to another. It is a futile exercise. Also, listening by full awareness develops the complete inner silence in his mind, which develops the intuition in his consciousness, and then life force climbs up to the 10th gate through the Sahasrara chakra, and from there it enters the gateway to the abode, and one becomes self realized and gets merged in divine consciousness in due course. This is the highest achievement in life. There is nothing more in spirituality. By this process of mergence, a devotee is raised to the higher spiritual level of self realized saints, dummy gods, peers, siddhas, with all divine virtues to such an extent that what he thinks and utters becomes true. Hearing is just a purposeless exercise, as if throwing energy for passing and wasting valuable time of life. It is basically deceiving the self just to project self before others. This to show to others in society as if you are religious and spiritual. Well, listeners develop the capabilities to know the past, future, and mysteries of others, besides means to overcome their problems to make them happy. No such development seems in the mental frame of a person who just spends energy in hearing of the divine name, the process of deep self realization through reciting his glory, and then to listen to the same very keenly with one pointed concentration shall reveal him secrets of the universe intuitively now and then in discontinuity. Deep listeners will know how Almighty has supported the earth and sky, and how, by the mercy of God, different continents, planets, and life in deep earth and ocean coexist smoothly. To a self realized person who has been raised to such a high level, death does not scare him. He becomes as perfect as God Himself, and as God is fearless, so he becomes. Manifestation of joy through listening. By listening to the glory of God, devotees are always in joy. Almighty keeps joy in the heart of His devotees and gradually extends the joy in discontinuity in the realm of existence in life as His devotion towards Him is manifested. This is because of the fact that by contemplation, meditation on His name and on His glories, all mysteries due to cultivated sins in the present and past lives of devotees are burnt in the divine flame of silence, and then illumination appears in his life. Hence, there is further manifestation of joy, which is inexpressible by any means. Hearing divine name mechanically. By hearing the name of God and reciting any of mantra unconsciously and mechanically without the presence of mind is equivalent to throwing precious and valuable diamonds in the ocean, which cannot be recovered back. Cultivation of higher virtues in life by listening. By associating the self fully in listening, by concentrating and becoming mentally and intellectually in unison with the words or sayings of the Almighty, in silence, one comprehends Shiva, Brahma, Vishnu, and Indra. In other words, all the three virtues as depicted by these gods, that is, Satoguna by Brahma, Rajoguna by Indra, wealth and earthly comforts by the grace of Lord Vishnu, and Tamoguna by Shiva, can be transcended in his life, and one can become Gunatit, that is, conqueror of all these virtues, and transform himself to a man of self realization. By this transformation and by achieving the self realization, even the ignorant person, that is, man of low intellect, can become praiseworthy in society. His wisdom surpasses beyond bounds of any boundaries by the glory of Almighty or the supreme cosmic light. Furthermore, thus, by this process of becoming unison with the God's name and His glory, by developing perfect mental silence, one cultivates the yogic powers and conceives or feels deeply the difference in gross or physical, sukshma or pranic, mental, Vigyan or intellectual, and Karan or causal bodies. Also, one develops deep inner capabilities to learn the essence of Sastras, Smritis, and Vedas. No, any capability and virtues developed just by hearing and not becoming one with the divine energy and omnipresent forces of the universe. Development of intuition. In other words, the intellect of a deep listener with full consciousness extends the boundaries of learning. He learns directly by intuition and not by other worldly means. He cultivates the qualities of super consciousness. It is the wonderful development in a human life by the grace of Almighty. A man of hearing without consciousness cannot even touch the boundary of intuition. Listening develops godly qualities. This is the significance of listening to the name and glory of Almighty and uttering or reciting His name along with listening to the same by deep concentration and awareness. Emergence with cosmic energies. With the miraculous power of listening to divine glory and getting immersed in that, all mysteries and sins are annihilated in the life of a devotee. His level of development becomes beyond description. In addition, by associating or listening deeply and becoming unison with the divine words or glory, one understands truth, the changeless power of Almighty, essence of the natural secrets, and his life becomes contented without any material desires. Gradually, he becomes immensely wise by self realization since he could establish his energies through communication from the 10th gate or apex center in his forehead with the cosmic energies with his super consciousness by becoming perfectly silent and still. Then his entire actions are governed by the command of Almighty. With this achievement, one earns merits or fruits of spiritual baths at all the holy places of pilgrimages in the universe. In other words, one needs not to go and take hectic journey and put efforts to take holy dip and worship at various divine places. Man who only hears is far away from all these inner merits and benefits. Development of state of meditation by listening. Furthermore, listening deeply to the divine sayings with complete attention in a thoughtless state by a devotee gives him much more honor than reading books and reproducing their contents. This process leads to a state of meditation, which comes naturally to him without any external efforts and means. Thus, all prerequisites for a devotee to get absorbed in meditation, to be able to focus and concentrate on the divine glory. That is, listening with attention, the glory of Almighty, being in a thoughtless state and being at the source from where the divine words are generated, get automatically fulfilled. A man of just hearing cannot comprehend the value of meditation and to be in a thoughtless state, except God, everything else is mutable, and as such, Natural meditation is only possible by listening to his holy words deeply in the thoughtless state, such that words disappear automatically in void in the state of mergence. With the mergence in the divine glory, all mysteries and sins of a real devotee are annihilated, and all kinds of spiritual and material progress are assured and granted to him. By associating deeply with the glory of the Lord, a devotee takes a deeper dip in the ocean of virtuous activities of great divine values, which cannot be expressed. Just hearing deprives a person from the joy of mergence in the glory of God. Cultivation of divine wisdom. By following the divine path of mergence in his glory, one acquires Sheikh's wisdom, Pier's virtue, and sovereignty. By mergence in the divinity by devotion, even the blind, that is, ignorant, finds the way to move in the right direction in life, and ignorant becomes wise. In other words, human senses are surpassed by developed intuition, by mergence in His grace, and to be one with His glory. The knowledge of the ocean like world becomes so meager, and one is easily able to know all universal mysteries, and thus the unfathomable comes as close as hand. There is no comparison of accomplishment achieved in the life of a human being by chanting the glory of Almighty with awareness than hearing without awareness and getting fully merged in it. Conclusions. With the divine word and chanting of his name pervading in the thinking of a devotee, the devotee is always in joy, and all his mysteries and sins are annihilated. And thus, by one's association with the holy words with awareness and getting merged in his glory, one acquires distinct poise, thinking, and thus he is fulfilled with inexpressible infinite joy in continuity. He transcends time and space and steps in the reign of being. This makes a deep listener with consciousness travel to the abode of silence in infinite joy, as against who just hears mentally without any awareness.